private enclaves and offer alternative solutions for urban living. I myself have gone and visited one of his developments, which did a lot of stuff in a smaller development to look at smaller communities and how they can be self-sustaining. He has served as consultant for governments of Uttarakhand and all. Suffice it to say, he's been a recipient of some of the prestigious awards, the AVI Water Champion Award in 2006, and also PCIL, which is his organization. He has also been nominated for the Hong Kong-based IFJ Award. Bala actually got off of our only because I think we were very fortunate to get him back on. So my apologies again. This is a last minute. Bala was not supposed to be there, and then he very kind. The earthquakes in Ahmedabad, the resettlement, the rehabilitation, the redesigning of the worst. I will shall I? And he has now started his own organization.
And the idea is to use urban planning to facilitate transformation of cities. Our core area of work is urban and regional planning, but we have also been making forays into sustainable development in the urban context.
Credel, where is Mr. Shah? You are going to. Okay. Oh, he's not in. Is he not coming in? Okay. Fine. Some of the work that we've done, which is in the first peak, the one that I mentioned for those of you who were here in the morning, when we talked about a framework of how we actually look at this, and we said it's planning, projectization, and management as well. We're delivering on those. They're not focusing too much on the planning that, but use Jaipur City, the master plan that I was involved.
Thanks, Ratik, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, after that earlier session that you must have had with some of these experts from Delhi, outlining those contours of architecture and urban planning, zonation, how architecture and energy efficiency relate and correlate and so on. I told myself that, I would want to see if I can look at something that's radically different. The top-down approaches that we all take toward looking at what those communities need and what cities and wards and blocks need. This is a presentation where I mean, it was accidental if I be there on the other side. How long is this guy going to take? Let me run from there, yeah. Look at this. I'm not cynical about this, it's just that we have too many of these ceremonial days from heritage, international mountain. I have left out many others that seem to be out there. Some of them have been promoted by the United Nations. You know how, for instance, something as innocent as the Valentine Day, suddenly, everybody took care. For 22 years, I've heard nothing else. Pipe culture, ecosystems, how, in the last 30 years, management that India has had for about 2,000 years. Now, there are people like Vishwanath right here in Bangalore, many others that I know in Chennai, right there in Ahmedabad, who actually what is happening is we seem to get more questions with more debates that happen on the environment itself. What is good about it all is that in the last 3 or 4 years, we've had a lot more discussion on these things. Actually, newspaper, if I don't stop hurting natural resources. Well, we had people like Al Gore. Any of you who have seen that movie will know that this man lent his brand equity to it. He also brought his persuasive charm to understanding those fears and threats and all that bad news that we have known anyway. This lady, for instance, in 1964 wrote about all the things that the US had already perpetrated on their economy and ecology. Madhav Gadgil right here, no more than 3 kilometers from here, walks in. And you've got people like Alvin Toffler, many others who have, look at that, Ram Duhai in his face. Lester Brown, that's the, you might want to, read this guy. He puts out a State of the World report every year for the last 16 or 17 years. He was the guy who brought to us this knowledge on the ozone and the damage that is happening, the ozone hole itself in 1984. Though it was done by some unsung scientists. Baba has been doing drama with a lot of other things that you and I want to watch on television. And you know that Shah Rukh, when he came up with this, so they who inspire us these days. We don't really have people from real life who are doing things which can make that ago, 250 years ago, be prosumed, be produced, be consumed within, an area of, let's say, 3 or 4 square. We lived in a village, we didn't ever go out of it, and if there was a time when you went, it was probably once a year, once in 2-3 years. 1,200 years, the big damage that happened to the planet was with farming. Fast forward when it comes to living and settlements and the kind of, people who work on waste management, for instance, within city corporations. I have been going lines for agricultural water use. Bhopal has tried an experiment like this. But I'm telling myself that what the government does or can do is not half as important in a certain sense. Because we have come to a point when we need to, as individuals, I'm not even talking to you yet, it's important for us to see that there is another kind of change that we need to bring in our own lives. What is it that we do tomorrow morning to see that we go, believe me, that's not going to make a difference. Can we make that change? The consumer review, the kind of guy